everybody, how are you tonight? We are going to be making a Keto Spaghetti Squash Alfredo style casserole. I'm just going to put it all in a dish and bake it and do it that way. I actually found this recipe several years ago when I was making some meals for some people, and they were very limited on what they could eat. Now, I realized partway into this tonight, I don't have almond milk. I only have regular, and I don't have fresh parsley. I only have dried. And we're still going to be okay because this only calls for 1/2 cup of almond milk. So my 1/2 cup of regular milk is going to have a whopping 6 carbs in it. So I have already sprayed my pan, so that's ready to go. I have already made, cooked, baked, and shredded my spaghetti squash. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that in my pan. So that part is all ready to go as I throw it on the stove, because cooking with Lois means cooking and making messes. So I'm just going to kind of spread this around. We're going to stir it more later anyhow, but at least we can start out with it being kind of evenly spread out throughout the pan. So voila. So I'll set this aside. I'm actually not going to bake this tonight because I am going to take it to work tomorrow because, well, you know, when you have a fussy mite that doesn't like spaghetti squash, you share with others when you decide to make a fun recipe like this. And actually, he doesn't like Alfredo either, so why would I waste something good when I can share with others? So what we're going to start with is we're going to start with a 1/4 cup of butter. And I just happen to already have a 1/4 left in this package, so that worked out really nicely. I'll get it melting here. The nice thing about cooking your spaghetti squash ahead of time is you can store it and then you have it available for when you're ready to do your cooking. Easy peasy, no fuss. I will tell you too that my recipe that I got for this comes off of sweetashoney.com, and of all the Alfredos I have made over the years, this is actually truly one of my most favorites. So I think they did a superb job putting this together. All right, we need a cup of heavy cream. We're going to melt this butter all down. As I flip back and forth here. We'll see if we can get through this cooking event without hearing from our 4-footed one here. He'd been sleeping until I started videoing. And then he thinks he needs to get into the action too, I think. This butter is almost melted. And I have my heat on my gas stove in between a 4 and a 5, my medium heat. Because when we're dealing with our cream stuff, our dairy and our cheese stuff, it's really easy for this stuff to scald. Actually, I'm even going to turn this down in between 3 and 4. So now it's the other one thinking he needs to get in on the game. All right, this is pretty much melted, so I'm going to dump in the cream here. Go ahead and get my 1/2 cup of milk ready now. So it's ready to do it. Yeah, 1/2 cup of milk. And yeah, so there is a whopping total of, hope you're sitting down for this, 6 carbs going to go into this big pan of spaghetti squash Alfredo. So I think we're going to be okay with 6 grams. If you, in the scheme of things, total it up, that's pretty small potatoes. Now I actually, because I don't have the fresh parsley, I have dried. I'm actually going to put that in right now so that I can reuse my teaspoon here. So I had almost everything I needed to start this recipe tonight already in the house. So it was not worth the gas or the time to go to the store and pick up fresh. And I'm going to do just a little extra garlic because why not? Garlic is delicious. Healthy for us, very good tasting. So why not? Alright, so far we have our butter, our cream, our parsley, and our garlic in here. It called for a 1/4 cup of fresh garlic, fresh parsley, and 3 cloves of garlic. And because I cheat and I use the jarred stuff, I just put in not quite 2 full teaspoons, but you read your jar and it'll come out just fine as to what it is that you need. All right. Now it calls for our salt and pepper, and it actually calls for a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper and a full teaspoon of salt. I'm not putting in a full teaspoon of salt because my salt is extremely salty salt. I don't use Morton's. I usually use Redmond's, but at this time I have got an Eden sea salt because I couldn't get my hands on the Redmond's the other day when I had run out. So I'm putting in 1/2 teaspoon because we can always add salt later, but you surely can't take it away. So we might as well just start small and add to it as we need or want to. Alrighty, now we're going to get to the fun stuff already. We are going to put in our 1.5 cups of shredded Parmesan. I don't know why I don't ever buy Parmesan, ever. I never buy Parmesan that comes in a block, whereas I do almost all my other cheeses. Don't ask me why that is. It just is. It's the one cheese that I guess I don't use often enough to feel like it warrants a whole block of its own. And of course, now the dog would like to play. Now is really not a good time, Pugs. Oh, where would we be without, you know, critters? Critters, critters, critters. All right, so we are going to melt this Parmesan. We're going to stir this and keep doing this for about 1 to 3 minutes until we can see it's really truly all melted and really stringy like that. And we're almost there, but not quite. And in the name of saving my measuring spoons, I did add the parsley already. The recipe actually doesn't call for it to be added until after we get done with this stage, but I think it's going to be edible. I think it's going to work out just fine. That's coming together really nicely tonight, very quickly, for which I am very happy. I am not even kidding. Sometimes when it has already been a long week and it's only Monday, we need a few things to go in our favor. I am really not gonna cook this any further without doing my next steps, because I hope you can see just how nicely now this is already melted and it's all ready for the next step. So we are going to go ahead and throw in our 1/2 cup of milk. I'm going to stir that a bit first. And then the recipe calls for 14 ounces of chicken. Now, this is another thing that I did the other day. I want to make sure that's true. Yes, 14 ounces, they say, of rotisserie chicken. Well, I baked the chicken a few days ago, and we have eaten it other ways for several days, and I have chicken left over. And I'm not going to go buy a rotisserie chicken when I have one in my fridge. So I'm not measuring 14 ounces out either. I'm just going to dump some in, and then I'm going to kind of weigh it out and go, proportionately to my sauce, do I have enough chicken? And I'm going to say, you know what, I think I can do a bit more. Yes, I can freeze the rest of this chicken and find something else to do with it. That is not truly, it's not an issue. So I think I'm going to call it good there, because we would like a little sauce to go with everything else. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this sauce, pour it all over the noodles. And I gotta tell you, afraid you're stuck with one of those kind of cooks, especially when it comes to Alfredo. I mean, really, why would I want to waste a drop of this? I wouldn't. So yeah, I am cleaning my pan out thoroughly. That may also drive some of you crazy, but now if it was lima beans, I'd leave the whole batch of them in the pan, but it's not. It's cream and cheese and garlic, and how can you go wrong with any of that? Okay, so now I'm just mixing the sauce and the noodles together. Remember, this is keto, so it's got our spaghetti squash noodles in here. And we just want to make sure that all of that spaghetti is good and covered. Now, because I am that kind of a girl, and like I said, I don't know why, I am so strange on the Parmesan, and I never buy it in a block, but I do everything else. I have already hand shredded my block of mozzarella cheese. And the recipe calls for 1 whopping cup of cheese on top. That may or may not be enough. You get to decide that yourself. We're going to put it on here in a minute, and then we'll see what we think. It may be plenty. I honestly cannot remember, because it has been quite a long time since I've made this recipe, because like I said, it's one I have to share because it's way too big of a batch for me to eat by myself. Trying to make sure I get chicken spread out here a little bit. Okay, I'm done messing now. All right, so here's what it looks like in the pan. And now I've already taken and I have already shredded my whole 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. And I have a cup stuffed in my 1 cupper. And we'll see. If I think that's not quite enough, I have the other set aside. We'll just add more. You just really can't go wrong with cheese. I mean, I know there are some people who can. one of my other part-time things is working at a pizza place, and I feel so sorry for one of the girls there because she is allergic to cheese. So she does still have pizza though. She's just very creative in how she does it. She puts garlic on the crust and puts her toppings on and does not add cheese. All right, so in this entire what did I say, 8-ounce package of mozzarella cheese, there is less than 1 gram of carbs in here. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this well enough or not, but personally, yeah, I'm not happy with the cheese. And I'm adding more because I can. So here we go. I actually have a feeling, knowing me, actually there's no feeling. All right, this is what's left. I'm adding it all. So your choice. You can follow the recipe and put a cup on, or you can just do a happy dance and put the whole 8 ounces on and call it good. I think it is going to be delicious. Now, I'm sorry to have to make you wait overnight. You really won't notice. I will, but you won't. But now I'm going to pop this in the fridge, cover it up overnight. We'll bake it at 350 degrees tomorrow. We will bake it. Normally, we're going to do it for 15 minutes, but I think because I'm going to have it in the fridge and it's going to be cold, starting from scratch, it's probably going to take me longer than 15 minutes. But I will show you the finished results tomorrow. Sweet dreams. Okay, here we go. Definitely ready to eat. Yum.